I wish I win. Trackside media in New Zealand.
Listen, we've left no stone unturned.
Best of luck to all connections.
I wish I win. Think about it in front from I wish I win. Think about it. Think about it. Won the Everest. But I wish I win.
Sorry, New Zealand. Not our day, but they run this every year.
No excuses. He was good, but not good enough. Beaten by the better horse on the day. Where can we improve? What should we do differently? Is he still the horse for our slot?
I wish I win on the outside, grabbing the lead.
There was never any doubt. I wish I win is back for trackside, better than ever. To go one better. No excuses.
Hello and a very warm welcome to the 2024 Everest Show, where myself, Guy Heveldt, Popplewell Jayne Ivil will be giving you all of the info you need when it comes to this year's Everest. It is the race that everybody wants to win. And Guy Heveldt, as we say good morning to you, we have a good chance. Trackside New Zealand have a good chance of taking out the race.
Certainly do, don't we? I wish I win. Obviously last year's runner-up ran superbly then, and I think is building into this pretty nicely. BP will hear from Peter Moody not too far away, but things are looking pretty promising, I think.
Certainly. Good morning, team. Look, can't wait for the race because you've got that element of I wish I win, Jolie star, and a big New Zealand representation, and then just how the race sets up. That barrier draw has told us a lot with what we saw there last night and what was a pretty big event out of Royal Randwick. So, yeah, can't wait to sort of dissect it all.
Yeah, and Jayne Ivil is a big part of our show this morning. She's in Sydney on the ground. Jayne, a very good morning to you. Really looking forward to what you can add to the show on the ground there in Sydney.
Good morning to you all too, and the viewers at home. What a week to be in Sydney. There's certainly a buzz around as we build into the 20 million, the Everest. And look, it's been a really nice couple of days here in Sydney in terms of catching up with some of the connections. One thing I can say is that the sun is shining today, so that's made a huge difference. There was a little bit of rain around earlier in the week, but the forecast has certainly improved as we head into the big show on Saturday.
Yeah, we can get a little bit more from you, Jayne, with regards to the weather and track conditions later in the show. For now, though, let's find out what the next hour is going to hold. We hear from the connections of I Wish I Win as we count down to the big day. Can he go one better? A couple of Kiwis catch up in Sydney to discuss all things Steffi Magnetica.
I really like how you don't turn her in on yourself. You know how to do it properly, don't you?
Proper.
I got the opportunity to sit down with the mastermind behind the Everest, Racing New South Wales CEO Peter V'landys.
The young people that come to watch the Everest, they don't know whether it's a Group 1 or a Group 16. They couldn't care less.
I Wish I Win co-trainer Katherine Coleman is a star on the rise. We learn more about her and her connection to Wish. Plus, Guy Heveldt is back at Waikato Stud in search of his first foal. All of that to look forward to in the next hour. What about the TAB? What are they bringing to the table when it comes to the Everest 2024? Well, it is the Mega Millions. $10 million up for grabs, free to enter. The most incredible thing is that we ran this competition last year and it was struck.
Someone got it. Yeah, too right. You're more likely to get struck by lightning twice in one day than getting this right, but it's a free crack at it and it's for $10 million. So why not?
All you have to do is be able to guess the correct finishing order of all the runners in the Everest. It's as simple as that. tab.co.nz to find out more. Also available at tab.co.nz is this, BP, I Wish I Win bonus back. If he doesn't win, you get $50 back as a bonus cash.
Yeah, don't worry about getting struck by lightning here, because you just put your bet on, and if he doesn't win, you get something back. So that's what we're here for. So yeah, that's a brilliant bonus from the TAB.
Over the next hour, you're going to hear plenty of chat around I Wish I Win. And we thought it was important just to fill you in on trackside New Zealand's horse, I Wish I Win. BP, what's the lowdown? What has he been doing since the race last year?
Well, that's right. Let's have a look at some of his key facts and figures around I Wish I Win. I mean, first of all, though, I think we gravitate to his prize money, which is outrageous, isn't it? Where he's sitting at $12 million, of course, with the Chittick and Moody's, Peter Moody and Katherine Coleman, and Luke Nolan to be the jockey, of course, for I Wish I Win. Ran second in the Everest in 2023. Want to talk about some of the parts of form that are key for this runner. Of course, went to Brisbane, did this runner, was able to compete there, finished a placing, and then, of course, was able to get that very important Group 1 victory as well out of Brisbane, beating a couple of key rivals as well. Then we saw these performances in Melbourne, and I think these are two key runs to talk about out of his Melbourne performances. First one was over a distance of 1,000 metres here, Emily. Look, we all know the Moonee Valley, it's a tight turning circuit. The horse was always going to get back and look to finish off the race strongly. And the Moya is probably a good setup as well, because it's different to last year in terms of this race being here, and then they had that right spacing between runs from this race, the Moya, to then roll into their next start, which of course was the Manikato, where the horse was just as good again. Here, finishing into 5th position here, attacking the line. That's all you wanted to see from I Wish I Win. And then the same thing again in the Manikato, where it was always going to be a high-speed 1,200 metre race around Moonee Valley, tracking the right horse. Growing Empire's outside leader kicks away on the point of the bend, but he does some really good things here down the straight to fly home into 3rd position. So he's run good sectionals. Both of those runs here at the Valley have been strong sectionals. He ran the fastest 8, 6, 4 and 2 at the meeting in the Moya Stakes, and he's good again through the line in this race to finish into 3rd position, which really, it does tell us that he's all set up and ready to go.
Talk to me about the ratings, because they're really important, the numbers surrounding I Wish I Win. What do they tell us?
Well, certainly when you look at the performance ratings we've seen from I Wish I Win. So I Wish I Win's performance rating was 104.1 after running second in the Everest. Then we go through those performances that we've seen from the horse when running 3rd in the TJ Smith, 102.3, the Doomben 10,000 placing 102. There's the Kingsford Smith performance rating, 103.5, and of course that is such a key rating to be able to see that from that horse when you look at the competitors that he was able to beat and use that Brisbane form to then bounce into this horse's campaign. So look, what we get off that is we need to be looking for the horse to be hitting those numbers of around 102, 103 again for Saturday's race, and maybe even a little bit higher. Sometimes those ratings can be a touch higher for the Everest. So far we've seen him hovering around that sort of 98, 99 performance level at this stage.
From our perspective, it looks like I Wish I Win is right on target. But we want to hear from the connections, the people up close and personal with the horse himself. And we had this update from Peter Moody this morning.
Morning, tracksiders. Moons here at Pakenham. From Wednesday morning with I Wish I Win. Both myself, Katherine, and the whole team are very proud to be representing Entei and New Zealand Waikato Stud with I Wish I Win in the Everest on Saturday. He's in great order, the big boy. We're on the road tonight. We got to Rarewicks, and he'll have his few dates there to settle in pre-race. A few showers of rain up there. That won't disappoint us. Takes a little bit of the jar out of the ground for him. I think barrier 9, ideal. You'll be able to sort of sit midfield the second half, 3 bit of cover in the first one to field, and hopefully the first one over the line. So get behind us, because we're very proud to be representing you all. So I Wish I Win on Wednesday morning here at Pakenham.
We are most definitely behind them, that is for sure. And it sounds like a very bullish Peter Moody on a Wednesday morning. Speaking of connections, Mark Chittick from Waikato Stud also joins us. Mark, we'll say a very good morning to you. Not sure if you could hear that Peter Moody update, but your trainer sounds absolutely chuffed with where his horse is at.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning to you all. And he sounds pretty happy. He's a pretty hard act to follow there on when he's got a camera in front of him. But no, I think everyone's happy. You know, if we go right back to the Kingsford Smith and then his spell and his couple of runs leading into Saturday, and now the draw's out and Luke on top of him, etc., etc. You know, everything's spot on. We're very happy.
How does last year compare to this year for you? What are your feelings in the build-up with I Wish I Win?
Yeah, completely different. Obviously, it's just fantastic to be tied up with trackside again, and you know that feel of, let's say, all heading over there to have a good crack at it with New Zealand with us and behind us, and trackside entertainment. But you know, last year he was the first New Zealand horse to run in the race, and obviously Entane was call it new in town, and I've got to say it was full on. You know, by the time we got to about now, or certainly Saturday, it was like, let's just get on with this. Whereas this year it's been a bit easier to get on with our day job sort of thing, day and night at this time of the year. But you know, now really round here on the farm here, the buzz is really building towards Saturday, and yeah, just really looking forward to it. You know, happy horse, happy trainer, happy owners, and looking forward to it.
Morning, Mark. Good to have you on the show, mate. Just picking up off that, is that part of the reason why you're going a little bit later in the week, maybe to ease the nerves a bit? What does the week look like for you?
Yeah, definitely, Guy. We've all kept ourselves very busy, as we will be on farm here right through the weekend. But yeah, just left it a little bit later this year, and hit and run mission, and hopefully we can come home with the prize.
Mark, keen to talk around the barrier draw from last night. A couple of things I get from that draw is that from the start, looks like a no push, no pull. You can find the position you want and then get rolling and build momentum into the race. Compared to last year, where you were really dictated to, weren't you, about having that barrier draw of one and hoping for late splits. It looks a better setup for you this time around.
100% BP. You know, we certainly we've worked out that one is not in his favour, and you know, of his last 5 or 6 runs, he's drawn one 4 times. So we certainly wanted to be, let's say, outside of 4, and it wouldn't have worried us if it was the outside barrier. But certainly it sets us up perfectly. You know, I think there's a bit of speed in the race, which is probably a little bit different to last year, which is great. But yes, I think you know, and if you go back to the Kingsford Smith, we drew the inside again, and we just gave Luke the instructions just to settle him back and let him do what he likes to do, and he was able to do that. Whereas you know, this weekend from 9, you know, we're just hoping we can sit 3 back, couple out, and he can do what he wants to do, and you know, hopefully finish first.
Exactly right. Finishing first would be magic. Mark, thank you so much for your time this morning. Great to have you with us. Best of luck when it comes to the weekend, and enjoy it.
Thank you very much. We're very proud to be heading over there with I Wish I Win and Trackside New Zealand.
Great to have Mark Chittick's thoughts on I Wish I Win at Waikato Stud this morning. It's not just about I Wish I Win. There are a number of other contenders in the race. Let's find out a little bit more about them.
Number 1 in this year's Everest is I Wish I Win. We wish he won, he didn't. Lessons were learned and a new path plotted with a Group 1 in the sun. Wish looks perfectly primed for a proper performance on Saturday. Giga Kick looked a monster when he won the race in 2022, but injury has the jury out as to whether Giga still has the kick of old. Private Eye, he's an Everest runner-up and a 3rd place getter with a wicked finishing sprint. Private Eye, we're still watching you. Bella Patina, she's fast, she'll run out of her skin as always, but is Bella forever destined to be the bridesmaid? Mega Millions top 4 must have. I Am Me. If form was the only factor, there'd be no identity crisis for I Am Me. J-Mac jumping off her back for a Jolie star pat may be cause for a crisis of confidence. Steffi Magnetica. Last year's winning slot holders have stuck with the same formula, selecting the Stradbroke winner. This time it's Steffi Magnetica for a trainer who reckons he's Bjorn to win the Everest. Sunshine in Paris. Selected to run in last year's Everest but was ruled out with injury. She's only had 10 career starts and won gold in half of them. Jolie Star. James McDonald brings up the Group 1 ton on Jolie Star in a $20 million race for New Zealand racing icons Cambridge Stud. It couldn't happen, could it? If it's not us, then why not? Growing Empire. Talented 3-year-old Growing Empire's form reads like my school report card. Plenty of potential, but lacks concentration. Will need to find his lion heart to win. Traffic Warden. Godolphin have given the green light to their star 3-year-old Traffic Warden. Sound the sirens. The Blue Army are coming with a colt who just missed in the Golden Rose. Stormboy Coolmore's glamour colt, once valued at $60 million, will need to sort out his slow starts if he's any chance to justify the price and the hype. Lady of Camelot carries the colours of Kiwi Sir Owen Glen, his on-pace Golden Slipper winner searching for sprinting Holy Grail.
Such an intriguing edition of the race, and really, Guy, when you look through those contenders, there's something for everybody.
There really is, and when we look at it from a Kiwi perspective particularly, you saw the colours there of Cambridge Stud. We talk a lot about I Wish I Win, but awesome to see the Cambridge Stud colours there. James McDonald obviously on Jolie Star. We saw Bjorn Baker, the expert Kiwi trainer, as well as Chris Waller and Sir Owen Glen, so much Kiwi interest particularly.
There is, and with it being a race that has something for everybody, you've also got a pretty open market, haven't you?
Look, we do. It's a very open market because you've got I Wish I Win favourite, and the horse has been around that favourite mark with the futures mark. Sits at $5. Traffic Warden with the barrier draw and that chance of getting a really beautiful spot along with Jolie Star. I wouldn't be surprised if Jolie Star moves in the marketplace over the next couple of days. The J-Mac factor, we all know that he had the choice of rides, so that's at around $7. Growing Empire at $8. Bella Nipotina drawn wide at $9. And I even wouldn't be surprised if an IME, Private Eye, Giga Kick. These horses are known with Giga Kick and Private Eye being performers through the Everest. IMEs and Superform drawn barrier 1, and that's at $26. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a very good spread of money through this year's Everest.
There is one element of the Everest that we can't control, and that is, of course, the weather. Jayne Ivil is on the ground in Sydney, as we highlighted at the top of the show. And Jane, keen to find out what's been happening with regards to weather in the build-up to the Everest and what we might see on Saturday.
Well, it was an interesting beginning to the week, Emily. When we flew in on Monday, we flew into a storm here in Sydney. So fair to say that Randwick has had a fair share of rain over the last couple of days. But as I did mention at the top of the show, we're now standing in beautiful sunshine. So what we do have is some wonderful drying weather. And when I caught up with track manager Michael Wood this morning, he was pretty happy with the state of the track considering the beginning of the week.
Yeah, look, really happy this morning. We've just come off the track, done our track inspection today. Obviously a much nicer morning than yesterday morning, but back into the soft 6 range.
In terms of numbers, how much rain have we had on the track over the last couple of days?
Yeah, we're at 42.2 for the last 7 days. Most of that was from Monday afternoon through to yesterday around lunchtime. So fair amount of rain considering we have 10 millimetres forecast, but track's handled it really well actually. I'm quite surprised how good it does feel this morning.
In terms of the overall surface, are you happy with it? The rail shifts back to the true position, so there's a little bit of fresh grass on the inside?
Yeah, there is for sure. We've done a fair bit of work there on that Epsom run that was at 3 metres, but the track's growing really well, recovering really well, so I think they'll be on a nice track there on Saturday. What
is our forecast over the next couple of days? A little bit of rain around later in the week?
Yeah, we've got some nice days today and tomorrow, then some forecasted showers for Friday, so a little bit of weather watch there, see how much does fall. Fingers crossed at the lower end. But Saturday looks to be quite warm, 27 and sunny with a slight chance of a shower. But when you get temperatures around 27, even if it was a millimetre, it'd evaporate pretty quickly.
Yeah, it sounds like the track has handled the water that's gone on and that we're probably going to get a surface that's going to suit everybody on Saturday.
I'd like to think so. Yeah, it'd be, it's the sort of thing that that race deserves. So, yeah, fingers crossed again that we get not too much rain on Friday, but yeah, it'd be good to be sort of somewhere in that middle of that soft range.
And considering the rain that we've had in Sydney, the track is actually looking in fantastic condition this morning. The team at the ATC are out on the track at the moment, busy working. So they're going to do all they can to ensure that we're racing on a pretty good surface. As we heard from Michael, a little bit of showers on Friday, but outside of that, really nice weather building into Saturday. So fingers crossed, if the weather plays its part and the predictions are correct, we'll be running on a soft track on Saturday.
All sounds very positive. Jane, we'll catch up with you a little bit later in the show. That's it for part one. Stick with us, still plenty more to come.
Next up on the Everest Show, it's the winners and losers from the draw. Some speed map chat with BP. And Jane catches up with proud Kiwi Bjorn Baker.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
Of your seat, entertainment right here for you tonight, everybody, under this incredible big top.
The first horse will be I Wish I Win.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Barrier 9. I Wish I Win. Peter Moody and Katherine Coleman and Luke Nolan. The trackside media has drawn Barrier 9.
You could always expect something big when it comes to the Everest, but it was probably one of the more theatrical barrier draws we've seen. Jayne Ivil, you were there for the circus. Tell us about it. What was it like?
Well, it was certainly an extravaganza under the big top, Emily. I can attest to that, having obviously been there last night. Now, I know that there's a little bit of controversy on social media surrounding the barrier draw last night. What I can say is I'm just not sure that the broadcast captured the fun and the theatre and the performance that we saw there last night. It was probably one of those barrier draws that you needed to attend in person to really take in what was happening around you. But as they say, no press is bad press, and it certainly got people talking, and it's a barrier draw no one is going to forget.
I can only imagine. Speaking of circuses, let's go from one to another, and we get to the speed map, Brendan, which could be anybody's guess, couldn't it, when it comes to what could unfold out of the barriers for the Everest?
So you're right, and with I Wish I Win shooting out of a cannon and landing in barrier number 9. They certainly were happy with what they saw there. We saw it all, didn't we? Storm Boy, barrier number 5, a horse that likes to go forward, and we know we'll be looking for that forward position. I think the key thing around this barrier draw is what happens with Lady of Camelot. We've seen Lady of Camelot lead and win a golden slipper. Will that be the case where they want to push the button, overcome that wide barrier draw with positivity, or do they look to try and slide and find more of a spot? I Am Me is a big winner out of the barrier draw. Traffic Warden, Jolie Star, I think they're the ones that will be looking to be sitting just off pressure, and we've spoken about those horses, those back markers, the likes of I Wish I Win and Private Eye. They'll be looking for the good speed up top to be able to try and finish over the top.
Jayne Ivil, keen to get your thoughts on the speed map as well. How do you assess the draws and what unfolded last night?
Well, we spoke to a couple of the key connections last night post the barrier draw, and for the most part, I think connections are pretty happy with what unfolded. Look, I think the speed map is really interesting. I Am Me from barrier 1 means that she looks like the likely leader. It'll be really interesting to see what the Waterhouse Bot team do with their 2 runners. Lady of Camelot obviously will look to push forward. Storm Boy, I'm not sure about. He's missed away his last couple of starts. I think he probably needs to get a clean getaway to contest the lead. I don't really like the way he's raced in his last couple. I'd love to see them take a sit with him. But it's favoured a lot of horses in behind that is going to get a really nice spot in behind the speed. Horses like Jolie Star, Traffic Warden, even Giga Kick. And we all know that the team are really happy with the barrier draw of I Wish I Win. So for the most part, I think it's suiting most of the gallopers. We did head out to Warwick Farm yesterday morning. Bjorn Baker just said to us that he wanted an inside barrier draw for Steffi Magnetica. He's drawn barrier 6. He was pretty happy with that last night after the barrier. He said you can't read too much into these things. He thinks that sometimes people overanalyse, so the team were pretty happy. Talking of Steffi Magnetica though, I do urge anybody that wants to jump on social media and take a look at Ridgemont Farm's social media, the Cunningham family, their owners in Steffi Magnetica. There's a wonderful story about how this mare got her name, and it's all about family and one particular person in their family that holds everyone together. So quite a heartwarming story. Probably didn't get heartwarming from Bjorn yesterday when we caught up with him at Warwick Farm, but he's as buoyed as ever to have another runner in the Everest.
Bjorn Baker, 3rd year in a row with a runner in the Everest. Tell me what the appeal is from your point of view to be involved in a race which is almost becoming a little bit iconic.
Yeah, it is indeed. Hopefully it's 3rd time lucky. I've had mixed success. Of course, I've had Overpass the last 2 years, and also 2 years ago had Shades of Rose. Overpass ran really well that year, ran 6th, and I think she ran 8th. And then last year Overpass probably had his one bad run in 18 months. So yeah, I'm pretty confident Steffi Magnetica is the right horse to go to the race. She's got plenty of sass about her, she's tough, and you just know she's going to put in 100%. And I think the way she galloped this morning, Zach's pretty confident as well.
What do you think it is about the concept that's really captured people?
Well, the money definitely helps.
I knew you would say that. You're a baker. That was the perfect answer, wasn't it?
Well, that's part of it. But it's definitely got a lot of attention, though. So there's a lot of rumours and innuendos. There always is in horse racing. But it's been exciting, and it was good to get, I guess, Steffi Magnetica locked away relatively early, and when hopefully we can have her peaking this Saturday.
Given a personality like yours, I'm sure those negotiations went pretty smoothly for you.
I stayed out of it. I just said the only non-negotiable thing is the trainer's 10%, and thankfully that hasn't been adjusted. It's funny, I've had a bit of luck obviously with the Quokka, with that being Perth's biggest slot race, and it's definitely interesting. You get to deal with other people, with Overpass in Perth, with Ram Racing, and with Newgate, of course. I've recently had a very good 3-year-old colt last year, Osmosis, that now stands at Newgate. So there's some really good symmetry there. And one of my clients who's in Steffi Magnetica, the Cunninghams, Ridgemont Farm, they've done plenty of business with Henry. So I guess that may have been a part of it as well.
Talking specifically about your mare, she's come a long way in a really short space of time, but she does have to go against what is, I guess, a relatively short history in the race, but no mare's ever won it. Can you change that?
Yeah, and I think this year might be the year. If you look at the recent record in horse racing history and Human Olympics, the mare's the dominant in Australasia. That's a fact.
In terms of what gives your mare an edge, what are her attributes? How can she win the race?
Well, I think she's got a really, she can switch off and relax, and I think Zach's the perfect rider that's been able to get that out of her, and she's got a phenomenal turn of foot. If she can draw a good gate, she can be comfortably midfield, and I think as much as anything she's tough. She's got some real toughness about her, so with a mare like her going into the race, it definitely gives me as a trainer plenty of confidence.
Oh, he's an expat Kiwi, and he is a big character, Guy Heveldt. If he wins, the grandstand's going to come down.
A big part of me wants to see that, because that's probably the calmest you'd see him, and the kind of lowest character you'd see him. But my word, if Steffi Magnetica can win the Everest, I don't know what he'd do.
Yeah, they're going to party on all night. We heard from him about Steffi Magnetica in Queensland winter form, and I thought it was a good opportunity to go back and have a look at some of that form. Yeah. Let's start with the Group 1 Doomben 10,000, Bella Nipotina, the winner.
Yeah, look, this is a race where we see, as you said, Bella Nipotina. I wish I win drew barrier number 1 on this occasion, and of course was beaten, and really was beaten by the barrier draw, and then of course next time out drew low again and was able to come back and out and around and get the job done. So Private Eye is also in this race, out wide, finishing into 4th position. Bella Nipotina is the eventual winner, just inside that runner, about to make the run down the outer part of the track. So This is a really good reference because we get to see it again very shortly with our next video. We know what we get from Private Eye. Private Eye will be looking to try and do something very similar again on the weekend as well, and Private Eye's had a very good record in the Everest, running a couple of placings.
During that Queensland Winter Carnival, we also had the Group 1 Kingsford Smith Cup, and the tables really got turned, didn't they? I Wish I Win successful.
They did, and look, this is a really key part of the race here, what we're about to watch with I Wish I Win, working away from that inside part and getting into the clear and looking to work down that centre part of the track. We know that we've seen with I Wish I Win in his best performances is when he can get to these type of lanes, and look, on this occasion the track had some good forgiveness in the ground. We know he has no issue with that, and he can really roll and let down in the race, and he had that opportunity to do that and got over the top of Bellinipatina and got the upper hand on this occasion at the Group 1 level in the Kingsford Smith Cup. So I Wish I Win at his best there, beating a key rival.
And finally, the race that produced last year's Everest winner, Think About It, is of course the Stradbroke. Steffi Magnetica was the star on the scene this day.
Yeah, look, I took a lot out of that piece here with Bjorn around Steffi, because again, what we see on Saturday is a very good setup for where this horse can land and hope to be one of those closers in the race. Look, got the dream run here on this occasion in the Stradbroke. You would have thought Bellinipatina was in that right part of the track now to let down like we've seen from Bellinipatina. But Steffi was able to really come underneath him hard and be very strong through the line. They were able to get away from the rest of the field. It's good form. It is very good Brisbane form that heading into the Everest.
Yeah, and you get that residual fitness, don't you, as well? These horses, it's been tried and tested. Think About It did it last year, of course.
Yeah, exactly right. The common denominator out of all those races was Bellinipatina, and I think I'll be chatting a little bit more about her later on in terms of I really like her as a chance in this race. I think she's a huge chance.
Yeah, we've got sunk our teeth into a lot of the form. Stay with us on the show. There's still plenty more to come.
Coming up next on the Everest Show, Emily meets Racing New South Wales Supremo Peter V'landys. We dive into the form of the Everest newcomers. And later, Guy is back at Waikato Stud.
Let's talk about the Everest. It is the racing event of the year. Tell me about where the idea came from originally and the inspiration behind it.
Look, I was talking to the media here in Sydney, and they basically said if you want to get mainstream coverage of racing, you need a major event that carries at least $10 million in prize money. At that time, we didn't have the resources or the money to do the $10 million. And I noticed this race that came in America called the Pegasus, and how it was a slot owner concept. And I thought to myself, well, that's the way we can raise the 10 million. So we did an investigation on the slots and how we could sell the slots and etc. Then we looked at the distance, and in Australia, where our best horses are sprinters. So we looked at the 1200 metre distance, and then we had to find a name that would capture the people's imagination and that it's the ultimate race, it's the ultimate peak race. And we came up with the Everest, and to our surprise, all the domain names and business names were available for the race. So we called it the Everest, and it started at 10 million, and most of that came from the slot owners, and then we have been able to increase it to 20 million because of all the revenue that it's generated itself. We targeted the race for under 35s, and in the first couple of years, about 80% of our audience was under 35, and it's continued that way. And what's happened, it's had a halo effect because those young people that are coming for the Everest are coming other times during the year. And so you're getting a much younger crowd to the races than what we were before.
Group 1 status confirmed for the Everest. How satisfying is that for you? It must be the cherry on top.
For us, it's more for the breeders and the participants in racing, because the young people that come to watch the Everest, they don't know whether it's a Group 1 or a Group 16. They couldn't care less. It's about the entertainment value. It's about the event. But for us, it's important because of the commercial aspects of it. One of the things I'm very excited about at the moment is the World Pool. And in order to be in the World Pool, you've got to be a Group 1. So, and the Everest was the leading sprint race throughout the world. It rated the, if it wasn't the best, it was certainly in the top 2 sprint race in the world pretty well since its conception. And it was one of the highest rated races in Australia since its conception. So if there's any credibility on the group enlisted guidelines, the Everest should always be a Group 1.
You give me the impression that you're someone that doesn't stop at the boundaries, you're pushing all the time. Where do you take the Everest next?
Look, I think we've got to continue raising the prize money of the Everest to make it such an aspirational race for people to win. And what I like about the Everest, it was always thought that, well, you know, all these rich people are going to win the race. That hasn't happened. It's actually, you know, the syndicates that have been winning the race. And there's one person in one of the syndicates that was in Redzell and now is in Private Eye, and he only owns 5%. He's a small investor that's been able to really do well out of the Everest. So I want to see more syndicates winning the race, and small-time investors that have they've had a little flutter in ownership and get that aspirational race of the Everest.
You talk about prize money. What about internationals? Can we attract more internationals to the race?
The problem with the internationals, other than Japan, Hong Kong, and New Zealand, they aren't that competitive over our distance. Australia, I think, is the best over 1,200 metres. We breed our horses for that sprint distance.
New Zealand are known for their stayers and middle distance horses, but there's been a bit of a resurgence in the sprinters. So what's your take on that?
We want New Zealand to be strong in all distances, not just staying distances. So it'd be great if they were as good as Australia over the sprinting distances, because we want that international competition, and we want horses going to Australia and to New Zealand. I'd like to eventually to see horses from Australia compete in New Zealand, because it's always been New Zealand horses compete in Australia. But if they continue to resurge and get the strength that they've done in the last couple of years, there's an opportunity there for Australian horses to go to New Zealand.
I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you for your thoughts on the Everest for 2024. Who do you think is going to win?
Look, I think it's a very open race. I think it's one of the most open races we've had. The class horse is Giga Kick, naturally, and we just want to see if it's returned from injury. And look, Private Eye has certainly been up there, and look, it wouldn't surprise me any of the horses could win, and it would not be a surprise.
I've got to be honest, Emily, I'm quite jealous of you. I'm a big Peter V'landys fan. He's a very polarising figure, but you can't knock what he's achieved both with racing in general, the NRL, and particularly the Everest here as well. I mean, it's got Group 1 status. It's pretty much the hottest ticket in town. You see the crowds that go. I think he's a genius.
Yeah, he is a genius. He's a complete mastermind. And what I would have given to have had longer than 30 minutes with him to pick his brain, but what he has been able to achieve in racing has been remarkable, and it was fabulous to be able to sit down with him and sort of just unpick his thoughts behind the Everest. We've mentioned I Wish I Win as a Kiwi connection, but there's also Jolie star for one of the juggernauts of the New Zealand industry in Cambridge Stud, Brendan and Joe Lindsay. Chris Waller, obviously an expat New Zealander. James McDonald, a expat New Zealander as well. She has showed plenty of promise, and look at that track and distance stats, unbeaten at the track and distance. Jane, how important is the New Zealand representation? I think we're doing pretty well when it comes to having New Zealanders on the biggest stage in the Everest.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's fantastic, particularly at being a sprint race over to 1,200 metres here at Randwick, that we can have some Kiwi connections involved. As we've heard, it's not traditionally a distance we've been able to compete in the past, but that's certainly changed over the last couple of years. Wonderful to see the Cambridge Stud colours going around in an Everest, and it is a real Kiwi bred story. The mare might not be a Kiwi bred, but Chris Waller is, James McDonald are, and of course Brendan and Joe Lindsay put an enormous amount of money into both the New Zealand and the Australian racing industry, and they certainly deserve all the success that they get. She's a little bit untapped, Jolie star. I think she's quite exciting coming into this race, and we are going to catch up with Chris Waller tomorrow morning, so we'll get a little bit more insight into her build up into the race when she'll gallop at Rose Hill at 6:15 tomorrow morning.
Yeah, she's a fascinating horse, isn't she? You've seen James McDonald with daughter Evie out giving her a pat. Surely that's a sign of his opinion of her. The win in the Show County was remarkable. What about that third, the most recent time that we've seen her?
Yeah, well, what I take from that is that the horse was so electric first up. I mean, the horse just boomed home and was able to put them away in a devastating turn of foot. Got a little bit further back, had to sort of chase the rest of the pack and to get into the race. Look, I think the little freshen up too is going to help. We've seen the horse been able to perform and really accelerate, and I think it's around 32 days since that last run, so that might be enough to be able to just get that Waller polish and get her pinging again like in a fresh state for the Everest.
A lot of pluses with her best trainer in one of the best trainers in the world, one of the best jockeys in the world. A lot to like about Jolie Star. Let's talk the 3-year-olds, the young guns in the 2024 Everest. There's plenty of them, and we can have a little look at the Golden Rose as a first replay, where we see Traffic Warden and Storm Boy doing their thing.
Yeah, well, look, this is a good race, the Golden Rose, because historically we've seen the horse that ran second in this back in 2019 and yes, went on to win the Everest. So Traffic Warden finishes second in this race, the Golden Rose, and Storm Boy. Look, Storm Boy, as Jane said, this is a runner that has got it wrong at the start and then looks to burn to the top, and he's just got a few little chinks there, and it will be interesting to see what they want to do tactically with Storm Boy coming into the Everest this year. But Traffic Warden, in terms of a map, it's one of the real winners out of the barrier draw because it can just stalk the tempo and it is a big danger.
If we head down to Victoria and take in the Group 1 Manikato Stakes again, it obviously does feature I Wish I Win, but also a horse by the name of Growing Empire, who could be anything, and he just sort of loafed in the closing stages of this race.
Look, he did. He's a star colt though, isn't he? And outside leader here, about to bury the leader, looks like race done. It does look like race done. Look, the win has come from an unbelievable position to be able to grab Growing Empire right on the line. Has he knocked off? Look, potentially right on the line. He's had a little bit of a look around. But what you get with this horse is he should be able to take that position. You'd imagine he's either going to try and, if they land outside leader and get to a position like they did there in the Manikato, it puts him in a very dangerous spot.
Yeah, it could be anything, couldn't he? Growing Empire. Speaking of the Manikato, you saw I Wish I Win flying home. We learned a little bit more about his co-trainer, Katherine Coleman.
If I were able to tell my younger self that one day we'd be training the favourite for the Everest.
I Wish I Win's going to absolutely pound them into the turf.
I'm not too sure whether I would have believed myself, to be perfectly honest.
I Wish I Win over the top.
It really is a sort of pinch yourself dream come true reality that I'm living each day.
I Wish I Win down the outside.
I can't wait to get him out and have him there on grand final day.
I Wish I Win too good.
I remember when I Wish I Win first came into our stable. The thing that got me was just his personality and his demeanour, and he's such a relaxed customer around the stable. And I do remember the first time that I rode him, I just thought, oh, I think you're going to be staying on my list. I don't think I'm going to be sharing you very much. It's easy to fall in love with a horse that's got good ability and is getting results.
I Wish I Win on the outside, grabbing the lead, and I Wish I Win one from Melody.
For me, the special part is that moment each morning when I get legged up on him and I walk out of the stable, and for the next half hour it's just he and I. There's no one driving you mad. You know, we just get to have that little bit of quiet time, myself and the horse.
You got all right. I Wish I Win, well, your wish came true, and I Wish I Win did exactly that.
I've been really happy with his 2 lead-up runs coming up to the Everest.
I Wish I Win, about to move in, set for the Moya.
Both races, he's been at Moonee Valley.
Hayasugi with 5 lengths to pick up, tracked by I Wish I Win and Cabalas.
That tight sort of a track, it's probably not his favourite kind of track to be racing on. He's probably a horse that prefers a bigger, spacious track to really let down on.
And I Wish I Win won't lose any admirers.
I think we really saw him more switched on at the Manikato. As soon as he arrived on course, really, he sort of knew that he was back at the races and he was there. He was thriving off the atmosphere, and I think he really enjoys it. All I've been looking for is to see him finishing the race off strongly.
And I Wish I Win's run the 3rd. He was just starting to warm up late.
And putting his hand up that, you know, he's right where we want him for the Everest. So I think there'll definitely be a few more nerves come Everest Day than there have been so far. If Wish is able to get the job done come Everest Day, it would be an incredible moment, I think, not only because it's such a, you know, a big race and a race with incredible prize money and prestige. I think more so just the fact that, you know, we narrowly missed out last year. This year, it's a whole 12 months of planning and preparation. If we could pull it off, the reward and the satisfaction from a job well done just in that regard would be amazing. Without sort of it seeming like I'm just saying this for the cameras, my number one wish is just that the horse comes home safe and sound and he runs well and he does us proud, and I know that he will because he's never let us down before and he's never run a bad race for us.
Oh, she's a star on the rise, Katherine Coleman, and a huge part of I Wish I Win and his journey towards the Everest. One thing you can guarantee about the Everest is the atmosphere, the party, the vibe on track at Randwick. We've seen it many times, many years before. Never fails to disappoint.
Oh, it really doesn't, and you might hear me belting out a couple of lines shortly if you keep my mic up, but this is kind of what I was getting at before in terms of the crowd and all that sort of stuff. They need to get the youngsters back in racing, and they've done it perfectly.
Yeah, it's something they embrace, they get behind it, and it's just so Aussie. I think we love it, don't we? I think it's so good.
I'm back at Waikato Stud in the hope of birthing a foal. You might remember about 12 months ago, or it was 12 months ago, I was here with Emily. Well, Emily's not here tonight. She's decided that she can't be bothered staying up all night in the hope that they'll get a foal, only to wake up in the morning and there is nothing there. So we will head out with the team on the night watch, foal watch, and maybe see if we can get another I Wish I Win. Of course, he's lining up in the Everest this weekend, and he was born right here, and we are hoping that we're going to find the next I Wish I Win, the one who can go and win the $20 million prize. So let's go. So we're on tonight, I think we're on.
I hope I'm not leading up the garden path here, but I'd be very surprised.
Tonight's the night. We're gonna foal a future Group 1 winner, I think.
Yep, absolutely.
What are you looking for?
Looking for anything that's sort of a bit restless, like they're moving around a lot, swishing the tail, pawing the ground. When they get really close, they tend to they'll lie down and roll.
So that's been pretty textbook.
Yeah, they're the. I mean, you can never see too many foalings. That's for sure. But that was pretty textbook. It's got plenty of life in it. You're sort of dealing with the value of what they are. It's great to have the team that we've got and oversee it, but 9 times out of 10, they're normally pretty right. Pretty right at doing it.
Yeah. So how long will they stay in this paddock for?
They'll stay here till the morning. 2 vets on site, so it's just very handy. Yeah. They'll come through and inspect all the foals in the morning, and it's pretty rewarding when you bringing them into the world.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Makes it all worth it.
Oh, what a gorgeous foal. I do just a little couple of things I just want to bring up there. Where was Guy Heveldt at the business end doing the pulling out? And couldn't be bothered. Emily couldn't be bothered.
Well, where were you? I was waiting. I was like, oh, maybe Emily's coming again this year.
Stop it.
Nah.
A beautiful folder.
Well, look, in terms of, I've got a little other piece to show you because I knew you would pick up on the fact that I didn't help. It all happened very quickly, and I was like, look, maybe I won't just step in because I don't quite know what's going on. But the next morning, something else happened. Right, it's just gone 7:30 and we're about to go and get coffee, but we've just had word that another foal is about to be born, and since I've done my apprenticeship now, I'm actually going to go and help. Not a very good one. Welcome to the world. 8 out of 10, I'll say that.
That's a bit more like it, doing the pulling for that one, Guy.
Yeah, 8 out of 10 as well. Did you hear that? 8 out of 10.
I
think Mark said we'll welcome you back anytime.
Okay. Okay. Well, as we got a foal, we can park that story and move back to some of the more traditional lead-ups to the Everest. A couple of races to touch on. And Brendan, if we start with the shorts, that of course featured I Am Me.
Yeah, well, I Am Me's a very interesting runner because it's at a massive price. It's $26 and the horse is going to be up on speed. So we know that these races, the shorts and also the Premier Stakes, are two very key lead-ups towards the Everest. And I Am Me just floats at that price where if you're looking for a runner that's going to be right where you need to be in terms of using the barrier draw, well, this is potentially the horse. It could be a great top four play if you're looking for that angle, or if you're looking for, of course, a multiple bet type. And look, Private Eye was also doing its best work out wide as well, and Steffi coming just in between runners and finishing in a second.
The other race we need to look at is the Group 2 Premier Stakes, and we're keeping our eye on Bella Nipotina and Giga Kick.
Yes, and I think Giga Kick's the one here where we're sort of watching here and waiting to see the best from Giga Kick again. 2022 was when this horse won the Everest. Of course, was one of 2 3-year-olds we've seen win the race. So I'm pretty keen to just keep watching Giga Kick here because James McDonald, as we said, did have the choice of rides for the Everest and had a number to choose from, and maybe they were thinking off the back of the Giga Kick's first up run, second up run was going to be a key one just to be able to see where the horse was at. Finishes into 4th position. Look, it wasn't a bad run, it wasn't a poor run, it was a run that suggested, look, getting better with every run, so we're just hoping to see the best from Giga Kick again.
Yeah, we most definitely are. Let's have a little chat about the past winners' ratings. We heard Brendan talking about I Wish I Win's ratings, but talk us through what we can see here.
Yeah, so this is a really key point here as for what we were trying to line up there with I Wish I Win. So I Wish I Win was a performance rating, thanks to Dan O'Sullivan, was around that 104 mark when finishing into 2nd position. So here you can line up, I mean, Classic Legends, a 111.7 is out of the box, but if you look at the other performances there, 105 from Think About It last year, Giga Kick around that 105, 106.5 for Nature Strip, so it averages out that you need to be hitting that sort of 106.8 average. So here, this is where we can line up peak performances from horses and where they were in their best run this preparation. So I Wish I Win will be looking to improve off those performances we've seen. Best so far this prep has been a 99, but we've seen I Wish I Win push to a 107.5. And then you have to try and line up these horses that have run peak already this preparation, and I'm talking Growing Empire 101.2. Have they run their peak performance before getting to a race like the Everest? The same with Traffic Warden 102.3, or do they have a little bit more, or will they regress from their peak performance this preparation? So there's a lot of different angles to be able to try and use these ratings in your favour.
Well, talking of the peak performances of the field for this year, we can move along to what the team think is going to win the Everest for 2024. Let's start with you, Jayne Ivil. Who do you think is going to be the winner of the Everest?
I actually found it really difficult this year. I think it's an even lineup, and I went backwards and forwards quite a few times, but I have landed with I Wish I Win. As BP mentioned, he does need to lift his rating points, but I think he gets a race that suits him much better than his 2 starts around Moonee Valley this preparation. His preparation has been purpose-built for an Everest. It's a much better preparation than we saw 12 months ago as he came into the race. So I think it's his to lose, given he's got a good barrier, and as Katherine said, he doesn't run a bad race. So he's going to give you a run for his money, and if he doesn't win, you'll get your money back anyway. But I've settled with I Wish I Win. But outside of that, I think it's an outstanding field. I think there's some real quality in the 3-year-old ranks. A horse like Storm Boy with the right run in the race has got the right ratings to win the race, and even a horse like Growing Empire I think can improve again. I think he's a star colt. Jolie Star, there's obviously no ceiling on her at this point as well. So if you like something in this year's running, I think you just go for it, because a number of these horses could be winning come Saturday.
You're right, Jane. A big thank you for your part in the Everest Show for 2024. Guy Heveldt, I'll move along to you. Who do you think wins the Everest?
Well, I Wish to win. I Wish I Win to win the Everest, and I really think he can win the Everest. I really like Bella Nipotina. We saw the rating just there, 103, best rated horse in the race in terms of that. I feel like she's been targeted at this. The wide draw shouldn't worry her. My suggested bet is a top 3 at $3. I think that's great money. So I'm tossing up between her and I Wish I Win to win the race, but hopefully her top 3.
Yeah, those closes will be really interesting, I think, because Bella Nipotina, I Wish I Win, Private Eye, they might be all the ones that try and swallow up those leaders if it's run really hard up front to help those horses. I like I Wish I Win because of everything that we've spoken about in terms of setup for him. He's drawn 9, he should be able to get 1 off 3 out, get into the right train, and then build the revs at the Randwick Rise, and then accelerate down the other side, and then let's hope he can produce that win. So yeah, up the wish.
And for me, I've gone with the Traffic Warden on top. I've gone with the emerging 3-year-old stars, Traffic Warden in the Godolphin Blue, to get up and score. Don't forget about all the TAB promotions available, tab.co.nz, to head to the Everest Hub. There's so much available, including that Mega Millions, $10 million on offer. All you have to do is guess the finishing order of the runners. And here's the details around the coverage, where to watch the Everest all day. All of the action will be coming your way, hosted by myself and Bruce Sherwin. Lots to look forward to. Huge thank you to all of the team that brought you the Everest Show for 2024. Let's bring it on.
Sydney. It's the perfect backdrop for a high-stakes $20 million race.
Come on.
The world's richest sprint race.
No backing down now.
And just like Sydney's skyline has been transformed, the Everest has reshaped the world of racing, with competitors chasing glory, chasing fortune, and chasing new heights.
I'm still pushing regardless of these stars.
History, icons, and ambition. The SCG has seen its fair share of centuries. And just down the road at Randwick, you'll need a ton and then some. The 7 Everest winners have posted a rating of 125 or higher. That's the highest of any sprint race in the world. Not only is it tough to conquer Everest, it's hard work just making it to base camp. Some of the world's best have tried, and for some, there's unfinished business.
I Wish I Win's going to pound them into the turf.
I Wish I Win went agonisingly close last year. Can he go one better, or will another contender steal his thunder? The world's fastest sprinters will gather here at Royal Randwick to climb the mountain of all mountains. The time for preparation and promise is over. It's time to perform.